In this module, we'll take a look at how you can work with a real FHIR server. Now, before we talk about servers and RESTful APIs, let's try to understand what a server is and what exactly happens when we interact with a server. To learn more about FHIR, we just released an entire course on FHIR and it's completely free. You can just go to our website, and then I'll also put a link down below. You can enroll in this course for free today. Now, this is a website that you might be familiar with. It's google.com. So now what exactly happens? How does a browser really access a page like google.com? So I have my inspector on the right here. You can just right click and click on inspect and you'll see this. I want to go to the network tab and I just want to show you what exactly happens here. So if I click on refresh, you can see that the browser is actually making a bunch of requests and it's getting back data from the Google server. So the first thing that it did was, again, it made something called a GET request to this particular URL, google.com, and then it got back some HTML. Now, this is the foundations on which the whole of the internet is built. And it's basically you have a client and you have a client requesting data and then interacting with a server. And the server then responds back to the client, right? So again, the way that this is done is using HTTP, and HTTP is nothing but, there is a bunch of methods, there is the URL, then there is the body, and you are able to do like almost anything that you want on the internet with HTTP, right? So now with Google, you saw that, it actually made a GET request, and there are multiple other method types just like GET. So you have GET, you have POST, you have PUT, and maybe POST you might be familiar with if you have just submitted a form on a web page that usually does a POST request. But the essential idea is that there is a client, in this case this is your browser, and then there is the server, in this case that's the Google's server, and you're able to actually interact with the server through the client by making these different HTTP calls, right? And we saw that in the network tab right here. Now, the big idea behind FHIR REST API, and this is again the big aha moment that Graham Grieve had, was that what if you can store all of your data on a FHIR server? So you have a FHIR server, right? And this FHIR server has multiple resources. I think we already saw what a patient resource looks like and how you can create one. What if this server had all of these resources? And then what if you can just have a client, just like on the internet, interact with this FHIR server and then modify things and read things on the FHIR server? Now, this is essentially what RESTful FHIR is all about. And there are a few main operations that a FHIR server needs to support. So you may want to create new resources. You may want to read the resources that you created. You may want to update. You may want to delete. So what RESTful FHIR is all about is basically there are these operations that you want to do on a FHIR server, and you have this thing called HTTP, right? So you have HTTP, and you're doing all of this through HTTP. You can just do this by changing the method for each of these operations. So for create, all you need to do is post, and for read, you can just use get. For update, you can use put, and for delete, you can use delete, right? And then the URL corresponds directly to the type of resources. So for example, if you want to create a patient, you'll do /patient. If you want to get patients, you would do patient. And then in this case specifically, you would want a specific patient. So you can have patient /1. And if you want to put, again, it's similar. You would have something like patient /1 and you would modify whatever is in there. And for delete, it is similar as well. Now, again, there is one more operation that usually people include here, and that is search. And in FHIR, it's again, it's just get, and you can use the /patient to search on a patient. So the basic idea behind FHIR RESTful API is that you use standard HTTP methods. So again, these are all HTTP methods. You use standard HTTP URLs, and we saw how it really worked with Google. It's just getting a URL. and you are able to modify, create, update, delete, and search FHIR resources on an actual FHIR server.